Hi guys, welcome to another crochet tutorial with me, Laura, and in this video we're going to be carrying on with my crochet along for my summer bunting, and this is triangle number 5. I do think it's number 5. We're up to number 5, aren't we? And this one's for my tassel triangle using the loop stitch. Now these are going to start getting a little bit more complicated as we get towards the end of the crochet along, so you can try and follow along, or if you want to, you can choose to do an easier option for this one. So the first thing we're going to do though is get some colours. And so these yarns are a DK, a light worsted weight yarn, so it's a yarn weight of 3, and with that I'm using a 4mm G crochet hook, but you can use any yarn that you like and any hook that's suitable for the yarn you're using. So I started with, you're going to start at the top for this one, and I started with yellow, so I'm going to start with the orangey colour first. And what we're going to do is we're going to chain 21. Okay, so we're going to chain 21. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 18, 19, 20 and 21. And sorry there wasn't a tutorial on Monday. I was super busy and I can't do one on Friday either, so we're kind of a bit of a midweek tutorial and pattern for this week. But what we're going to do is we're going to do one double crochet. So this pattern's in US terminology. In UK terminology, that's going to be a treble. So we're going to do one double crochet in our second stitch from our hook. So we don't count the loop on a hook. There's our first, there's our second. Let's put your hook into there. And we're going to do a nice normal double crochet to begin. And we're going to do one double crochet in each remaining chain to the end until we've got a stitch count of 20. Okay, so we're going to go into the next chain and do a double crochet, and we're going to do one double crochet in each chain across to the end. Okay, so just coming up to the end, and we should have a stitch count of 20 by the time you get to the end. Okay, so easy so far. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to turn our work. So we're going to turn our work and we're going to do a single crochet 2 together loop stitch. Now to do that, what we're going to do is we are going to go into, so we're going straight into doing loop stitches, but we're going to single crochet 2 together, so a little bit fiddly. What we're going to do is we're going to go into the first stitch and bring the yarn through. Then we're going to go into the next stitch. What we're going to do is we're going to create a loop stitch, and what I like to do is use my finger to just hold the yarn out, and when I grab the yarn I'm going to go to the right of the yarn, come underneath and grab it from this side, so it's over, the yarn's over my finger. I'm going to grab that yarn from that side and bring it to the right of that yarn, and then bring that through. Okay, and then I'm going to yarn over, my finger's fully stuck, and pull through all 3, and then you can let your finger out. Now this will depend on how you hold your yarn. You may wish to use a knitting needle or something else to do a loop stitch. If you can't do the loop stitch and that's super fiddly, you can just do a normal single crochet 2 together like that. Okay, so you can just do a normal one. Then what we're going to do, we're doing one single crochet loop stitch in each stitch along to the last 2 stitches. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the next stitch and do a loop stitch straight away. So again, we're going to go into the stitch, and I'm going to put the yarn over my finger. I'm going to go to the right of the yarn. I'm going to grab the yarn from that side, and then I move my finger over, which helps, and that helps to bring it to this side of that bit of yarn there, and that's going to come through the stitch, and then your finger's encased, and then we yarn over, and then we pull through and do a single crochet or a double crochet in UK terminology, and we've got the loop stitch there. But alternatively, you can just do a normal single crochet if you prefer, if that is easier. But we're going to do one single crochet loop stitches to the last 2 stitches. So we go into the stitch, put the yarn over my finger and go to the right of it, grab the yarn, move my finger over so I can get that to the right of that bit of yarn, out of the way, bring that through the stitch, move my finger back, yarn over, complete the single crochet, and then get your finger out. Okay, so I'm going to do that all the way to the end. up to the last 2 stitches. So this one's a fiddly one. Hopefully you'll get into a bit of a rhythm. Okay, so just almost coming up to the last 2 stitches. We've got one more single crochet loop stitch to do. Then when you've got 2 stitches left, you can either single crochet those 2 together as normal, or we're going to do a single crochet 2 together loop stitch. And again, to do that we go into the stitch and just grab the yarn and bring that through, so that's normal. Then we go into the last stitch, and then we want to do a loop stitch. Catch that last bit. So I'm going to put my yarn over my finger, go to the right, grab the yarn, bring that through, and yarn over, pull through all 3 to do a decrease loop stitch. And hopefully you'll have lots of lovely loop stitches like this. But like I said, you can just do normal single crochets if that is super fiddly for you. Then what we want to do is we want to change colours. So we're going to bring in the yellow and put that on our hook. So we're just going to put that over our hook and bring that through in a little chain 1. Secure that down, and then we're going to double crochet 2 stitches together. So we're going to turn our work and yarn over, keeping your loop stitches down here and out the way. I'm going to go into that first stitch, bring the yarn through, the yarn over, pull through 2, and then we're going to stop, yarn over again, go into the next stitch, bring the yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over, pull through all 3 to do a double crochet 2 stitches together, a decrease. Then we're going to do 1 double crochet in each stitch along to the last 2 stitches. So go into the next stitch, do a normal double crochet, and do 1 double crochet in each stitch to the last 2. So nice normal stitches. Okay, so just coming up to the last 2 stitches. How many have we got left here? We've got 3 left. So 1 more double crochet. And then we're going to double crochet the last 2 together. So we yarn over, go into the second to last stitch, bring the yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2, but then we stop, yarn over again, and we go into that last stitch. And then bring the yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over, pull through all 3 to double crochet those 2 together. So your stitch count has gone down to 16, and now we're going to do a single crochet loop stitch row. So we're going to turn our work, you can chain 1 and turn if you want to, it's up to you, and you can either do normal single crochets or you can do the loop stitches. So first 2 though, you want to single crochet 2 together, so either do that normally or we'll do a loop stitch. So I'm going to do a loop stitch. So go into the first stitch, bring the yarn through, stop, into the next stitch, but then I'm going to do my loop stitch. I'm going to put the yarn over my finger, go to the right, grab the yarn and move my finger over, bring that through, move the finger back, grab the yarn, pull through all 3 to single crochet 2 together. And then I'm going to do 1 single crochet loop stitch in each stitch along to the last 2 stitches. So same as the previous but 1 row. Okay, so go into the next stitch and I'm going to do a loop stitch, but you can do normal single crochets. I'm going to do that up to the last 2 stitches. Okay, so coming up to the last few stitches, I'll do 1 more loop stitch, single crochet loop stitch, and then I'm going to single crochet the last 2 stitches together, but I'm going to do that as a loop stitch. So I'm going to go into the second to last stitch, bring the yarn through, and into the last stitch, tighten that down a bit, and then do a loop stitch. Ooh, lost my tension. And then pull through all 3. Just do single crochet, 2 together, loop stitch, and there we go. So the stitch count should have gone down to 14, and then we're going to repeat those last 2 rows until we have a stitch count of 4. So rows 5 to 9, just repeat rows 3 and 4. So we're going to go back to our double crochet. So I'm going to rejoin my orange yarn. So I'm just going to grab that and bring that through a little chain 1. Make sure not to distort your project. Pull that down, turn your work. I'm going to double crochet 2 together to begin. So yarn over to the first stitch, bring the yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over into the next stitch, pull through 2, then pull through all 3 to double crochet 2 together. Then we're going to do 1 double crochet in each stitch along to the last 2 stitches. So into the next stitch, and do a normal double crochet, and just do that to the last 2 stitches. Okay, so coming up to the last few stitches, do 1 more double crochet, and then I'm going to double crochet the last 2 together. So yarn over, pull through 2, stop, yarn over into the last stitch, pull through 2, pull through all 3. Okay, so your stitch count should have gone down by 2. Then we're going to do a single crochet loop stitch row. So I'm going to turn my work. We're going to single crochet the first 2 together. I'm going to do a loop stitch first. I need to just bring that through. I do the loop stitch on the second one. 3 loops, pull through all 3. And then I'm going to do 1 single crochet loop stitch in each stitch along to the last 2 stitches. So exactly the same as before. So got 3 stitches left, so I'm going to do 1 more loop stitch, single crochet loop stitch, and then I'm going to single crochet the last 2 together. I'm going to do that as a loop stitch. So I go into the next stitch, bring the yarn through, and then into the last stitch, then I'll do my loop stitch, then yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, and then I'm going to rejoin my orange, my yellow rather, down here, making sure my loop stitches are out the way. Try not to distort your project. Then we go back to doing our double crochets. So we're going to double crochet the first 2 together. Then we do 1 double crochet each stitch across to the last 2, and to repeat the same as before. Then when you get to the last 2 stitches, we're going to double crochet those 2 together. Pull through 2, stop, yarn over and into the last stitch. Pull through 2, pull through all 3. Like so. So my stitch count is now down to 2, 4, 6, 8. So we're going to do a single crochet loop stitch row now. So I'm going to turn my work and single crochet 2 together. I'm going to do a loop stitch on that second one, then do 1 single crochet loop stitch to the last 2. So just repeat the same thing. Okay, so almost coming up to the end. Very quick now. I'm going to single crochet the last 2 stitches together. So just bring that through, then the last stitch I do the loop stitch on. There we go, stitch count is now down to 6. So I'm going to rejoin my orange yarn down here, a little chain 1, make sure that lies flat, pull the yellow down. Then we double crochet 2 together. So I'm going to double crochet the first 2 together, 1 double crochet up to the last 2. So I think it's only going to be 2 in the middle, and then double crochet the last 2 together. Then we're going to do a loop stitch row, so I'm going to turn, and we've only got 4 stitches left now. What we're going to do is we're going to do 2 single crochet 2 together, and we'll do that twice, and we're going to do loop stitches in there as well. So I'm going to go into the first stitch, bring the yarn through into the next stitch, and then do my loop stitch, bring that through, then yarn over, pull through all 3, and do that again for the last 2. So I'm going to go into the next stitch, bring the yarn through, and then into that last stitch. Where is my last? There it is. Do the loop stitch, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, so we've got 2 stitches left. I'm going to rejoin my yellow, my last colour, whatever the yellow is. It's too many loops now. Bring the yellow through, making sure not to distort your project. Bring the orange down, and we're going to double crochet 2 together. So go into those last 2 stitches and double crochet 2 together. Finish that too soon. There we go. Yarn over again into the last stitch, then pull through 2, and then pull through all 3, and then we'll do 1 tiny little single crochet loop stitch to finish. So we're going to turn our work. We've got 1 stitch left. I'm going to go into that and just do a loop stitch, single crochet loop stitch, or just a normal single crochet depending on what you're doing. And then that is it. That is our little bunting triangle, and all that's left to do now is to cut your yarns. So what I'm going to do is I'll cut the orange down to there. You can actually leave that as part of your loop stitch. If you make it about an inch or so long, same length as your loop stitch, you can just leave that tail end, which is always good. This one we're going to leave a little bit longer because we want to use that to make our tassel. So you're going to pull that through, pull that tight, and all that's left to do now is to cut your loop stitches. You can leave them like this if you want to, but what I like to do, that tail end as well, I can trim that down to the same length as my loop stitches. So I don't have to tie in any tail ends for this one. And what you should be able to do is just cut your loop stitches like this, and they will stay together, they won't fall out. If you've done them properly, they won't come undone. But if you're nervous about it, you can just leave them as little loops if you want. So I'm going to trim these all down. We'll cut these all these loops open, and then I shall come back and we'll make a tassel. Okay, so I've cut all those down, and even this tail end I can just leave if I want to, and I'm going to make a tassel now. So this one I did a yellow tassel, so I'm going to do an orange one for this one. And what you want to do, I've done a separate tassel video, but I think you should know what you're doing by now anyway. So we want 10 strands that are about 8 inches long, and then we're going to cut those 9 and 10. So I've got 10 strands of yarn, about 8 inches long. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fold them in half like this, keeping that loop, and then we're going to get our yarn needle and we're going to take our yellow tail end from the bottom of the triangle, and then we're just going to feed that through the end of that loop, and I'm going to secure this onto my triangle. I'll probably turn it over actually. So this is what it would look like if you hadn't have made the loop stitches, so it still looks nice. Sew through similar colours at the bottom, pull that nice and tight, then secure your yellow yarn. Okay, then we're going to cut that down. I'm going to use the remaining tail end, feed that underneath about 1 inch down. I'm going to tie a knot, tie a knot on top, cut it down so it looks like a little bow. Then I want to just neaten off this tail end, these tail ends, and there we go. And what I've done with this one is I've just pulled the strands apart. This is 100% cotton yarn. Pulled the strands apart and then let it unwind. You can't see on camera, but and then do that for all of them, and it just creates a nice sort of frayed effect like that. So I'll do that and then we'll come back and look at the finished tassel triangle. And there we go. There is the finished loop stitch tassel triangle, bunting triangle. And if you want to know what these are for, a lot of you have asked, what are they? What are you doing with them? Then do check out my happyberry.co.uk/cal, C-A-L, and head to that page, and then there is a whole article on what we use these for celebrating and decoration. But you can find the written patterns also there as well, and I will see you in my next video, which will be for, I do believe, the strawberry triangle, which where's that one? It's going to be for the strawberry triangle, this one, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.